about this country. When you look at people in this country, all people in this country, if you are tied to this country, if you are tied to this system, if you are tied, to every, to what's going on, then you are a slave. You get up. I tell people this all the time. The only difference between somebody who lives in 72209, which is Southwest, what the only between people living in Southwest or the South End or the East End and people living in West Little Rock, the only difference is the zip code, because both get up and go to work. Both are tied to the system. They have to get up and go to work. And this idea that if I attain wealth, if I attain riches, it's going to free me. It's not, because you're still going to be tied in somehow, and that makes you a slave. That makes you a slave to the government. That's what I was talking about with these rights. Rights give you a way to break away. I have a right to I have a right to start my own community. I have a right, and it played out with the people up in Franklin County who decided that we're going to build our own white compound. And the federal government came in and said, no, you're not. And so it's my right. It should be my right that I can create my own community. I can do my own thing. We can do our own thing. And the political powers will say, no, you don't have that right. But you tell me I do. That's the illusion sometimes. And so that's why the rights are so important. That's why if voting rights weren't so important, they wouldn't work to get rid of them. If healthcare right was so important, they would not work to get rid of it. If worker rights were not so important, they wouldn't work so hard to get rid of it. And that's what we have to open our eyes and see.
And I think part of the illusion also is what we deem beneficial from remaining in these abusive relationships. Because when we talk back about, if we circle back to your conversation about the nursing home in Louisiana, and the man said to them, hey, I'll give you a raise if you decertify. And people who, for whatever reason, they need money, they want money, that becomes the more important thing. Oh, we're going to get a raise. So let's not worry about decertification, because I want a raise. I want the money. I want whatever this benefit is. It's not always money. The benefit may be something else. But whatever that benefit is, that becomes more important than our personhood. And the world has taught us that. This system of white inhumanity has taught us that. The caller said that we have become we've always been this government's property. You use us to pay your debt. You use us for free labor. You use us for everything. And we allow it because we want to benefit in some way from remaining. We know the relationship is abusive. We know that it is violent. We know that it is harming us. We know it's harming our families. We know it's harming our children. But as long as I can get a little money, that becomes more important. So we've got to change our priorities, because nothing should be more important than ourselves, our bodies, nothing.
Right. Call you on there.
Very briefly, it was said that the slave that is happy is the one that the slave master has damaged the most. And one way they do get us is happy Easter, happy Martin Luther King Day, happy New Year, happy Valentine's Day, happy this. It seems like, just like the brother was saying, they're controlling our energy with this happy, and knowing that there are some things that they do that does not make us happy. But if we keep on happying, I always call them the I'm losing my mind now. They must be controlling my mind. Anyway, these holidays, that's what's got us thrown off too. But we should work and have ideas to codify ourselves. Counter racist codes. That I've been talking about that for the last 2 or 3 years. And I've done a lot of things especially with the black on black love and respect. Hearing about that and knowing about that has helped me have love for myself and my people more. But that's one racist code. But the suggestions that we should be getting from 100,000 watts that could free us is what we're looking for. Again, peace and love to all.
So suggestions.
Don't go with. Just keep on with the conversation.
So I love the movie. I in the movie Sister Act 2, Whoopi Goldberg said something that is that when you think about it, it's very, very poignant.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Hey, look at Tony with the big brain today, the big vocabulary. Hey. But what I'm saying, she tells these students, if you want to be somebody and you want to go somewhere, you better wake up and pay attention. I want to focus on that last part. The whole part is good. But if you don't wake up and pay attention, you have to be able, you have to be able to look at the system, or look at the wizard or the voice behind the system, and understand and look at it and say, you know what? That really doesn't sound right. Let me go behind the curtain. That's why they don't want you educated, And I think it's for everybody. They don't want, billions of dollars was supposed to be given for broadband in rural areas in Arkansas. They've taken that money back. Why? Because we don't want the rural areas educated. We don't want the urban areas educated. We don't want people woke. We don't want people paying attention. We want you on your cell phones. We want you on your computer. We want you on all these social medias. We want you watching the news. We want to tell you what you should think. We want to tell you the lies to make it seem like it's the truth. Because if that's all you hear, then you don't stop and pay attention. And when you don't pay attention, what's the one thing your parents taught you when you was a kid? And for some of us who walk to school or who walk down to a friend's house, the first thing they said, look both ways before you cross the street. Because if not, you're going to get hit. And sometimes, we end up just walking in a day, walking dead. And then we get hit and we're like, oh, why did you hit me? Because you weren't paying attention. It's some things that happen to us that we're not paying attention and we get hit. We get injured. So it comes to a point whether we need to read more, whether we need to listen to people, excuse me, whether we need to listen to people with some answers, whether we need to do something different so that we can wake up, so that we can pay attention. So now I can see what's coming down the street, what's coming down the road. And as long as you're distracted, how many of you have been walking down the street or driving and people are on their cell phone and they just walk across the street? Sometimes driving down Main Street, you have to drive 1 or 2 miles an hour. Because people will see you coming down the street and they just walk on. And some people, they walking their dog, they look on their phone, and they just walk across the street. They don't stop and look, and you're like, but that's how so many people in this country are now. They're not paying attention until they get hit.
So I agree with Solar Beam that this 100,000 watts of community radio should be used to educate and inform people. And I want to remind Solar Beam and all of the listeners that this is a talk show. So the talk show is a collaboration. It's us on the air as hosts, and it's also you all listening who call in at 501-433-0088. It's a partnership that we have. And so what we need you to offer when you call in is even more information for us to be able to use wisely in the fight for liberation. And sometimes when the callers call in, I'm not sure that you all have stopped to think about what you are about to say. And I'm not sure that you stopped to make sure you formulate it in a way that we can receive it, so that all of us are working together to provide the tools and the resources and the references and all of that people need. So it works both ways. When y'all call in, y'all are on the 100,000 watts, and we need everybody to be informed to help each other.
Yeah, I agree, because just because we do these talk shows, and I will agree, one thing I can say, I research my topics, but I know Denise, I know John Cerner, I know Larry Hicks, Wendell Griffin. They probably are more in depth researching than me, so that when they open up this mic and start talking, they're giving you information, they're giving you suggestions, they're giving you possibilities. They're opening up a world where you can step in and you can look and you can say, well, this is good for me, this is not good for me. I agree with this, I don't agree with this. But the thing about it, if there's never debate, if there's never conversation, then you can't really pay attention. You can't wake up and pay attention, because you've closed your mind to one part of the conversation. You close your mind to something that may be there to help you. And I learned this some years ago, about 3 or 4 years ago. I learned this one thing, and I did not know that there's a difference between talking and conversation. Conversation requires thinking. Conversation requires thought. Conversations requires debate. Conversation requires some things. Talking is just you opening your mouth and words are just coming out. Yeah, the words might not even make any sense. But you're just talking with no substance behind it a lot of times. I'm not saying that with all talk, but a lot of times there's no substance behind it. Hey, we're out of time. It was I enjoyed the show. Thank all the callers for calling in. Appreciate your feedback. Can't wait till next week. We'll continue this conversation or another conversation. But please read, get as much knowledge as you can, wake up, and pay attention. Any last words, Denise?
If we are going to live in a world that is more just, that is more inclusive, that is more peaceful, then we have got to learn how to live and love differently.
All right. Well, have a great day. It's Thursday Jazz. Please continue to listen. Please continue to support KB at 88.3 FM. Talk to you later.